Hey guys, this is Mike with resistancephotography.com. Today we're teaming up with thephotographer.com and reviewing the Lanparte HHG-01 3-axis stabilizer. This is going to be my first time using a handheld stabilizer. No, I've used different gimbals, glide cams, fly cams, whatever you want to call them, I've used them. But this is the first time I've actually had hands-on with a cell phone / GoPro stabilizer. So let's check it out. Alright guys, so here's our case that it comes in. I'm digging it, I like it. It's actually a fairly sturdy case. I was pretty surprised when I looked at it. I figured at this price we'd probably get some cheap case, but this one's pretty sturdy. I mean, it's not tough, it's not hard or anything, but it's pretty nice, pretty well built. So actually before I open this, let's we got a little handle on here. And we've got something that looks like we can attach maybe a shoulder strap or something to. We'll open this up and find out. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now this has been opened before. I have played around with it a little bit, and then the person I borrowed it from did kind of test it out for a second. There is no owner's manual in it right now, but I'm pretty sure that they do come with an owner's manual. Not exactly sure what all it says, but I'm sure they come with one. So right here we have the plug-in, and it looks like we're gonna have to attach our plug to it. So let's see what we have. We have this plug. I know these plugs are for different countries, from what I understand they are anyways. Not sure what country that's for, but that's included in the case. And then we have another one. And what's really neat is these are actually pretty snug in here. And we don't have to worry about them bouncing around or anything. There's another one. So you may recognize that if that's from your country. And at last and not least, we have this one. It's the American Standard version. I don't know what it's called. That's what I'm going to call it though. We have this. So we're going to go ahead and just attach it to our setup right here. Let's see how this goes on. Maybe I have it upside down. No, it would have to go right here. There we go. It's actually fairly easy to put on there. I made it look sort of hard and confusing. But if you do happen to travel and you are going overseas and one of these plugins apply to you, you can push this button right here. This pops right out. You can attach another one. Or if you even just want to take it out to put this back into the case, you can do that. Pop it back in there, you're good to go. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that off to the side for now. So let's go ahead and look at the shoulder strap I was telling you about. Now I am assuming this is for the outside of the case. Looks like it might be. It's really neat. Looks like it extends pretty far. Which is awesome because I have so many camera bags and cases and everything that I have to carry so much stuff. So whatever I can throw over my shoulders makes it so much easier for me. So let's see what else we have. We do have a GoPro attachment right here. We have a large cell phone attachment. We have a small cell phone attachment which is already hooked up to the gimbal. And then we have a GoPro housing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the battery. Right here we have a little battery. Not sure if you can read what it says, but yeah, here it is. If you hit the battery once and hold it down, you can see how much power you have. Now I did push it in all the way one time, and if the lights do stay on, you do want to make sure that you do not put it into the gimbal like this, because this is reading that your power is turned on, and it will turn the gimbal on. So if I had the gimbal in here, which I'm pretty sure I can't really insert it, but let's say I did like this, it would turn this on, it would try to calibrate itself, and you could end up messing up the motors or something like that. Not too sure, but it's better to be safe. So make sure all your lights are turned off, and then you can actually take this out and put it in the gimbal. Now you want to make sure you look at it because I have the tendency to do this and it's backwards. It's not going to let me slide it in all the way. So take it out, pop it into place, maybe give it a good smack, and make sure you're in place. And here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to switch the attachments, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set up the GoPro housing. This is for your GoPro housing, so we're going to go ahead and put this off to the side. We'll put all our GoPro pieces together, which I'm putting them over here, probably outside the screen. And then we've got this little guy right here. You do not want to lose this. If you do, then you're going to have to buy a whole new set. These are a pain in the butt to try to find. I did find a kit that had like 30 different sizes from like Orchard or something like that, or Walmart. I don't know where I got it. I had to look everywhere for it. So I like to make sure that I put this back in the case whenever I'm done with it. Let's close this up. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to remove the screws. And then I'm going to show you how to attach the GoPro attachment. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out. Probably go ahead and fast forward this so you don't have to watch me unscrew this. Okay, so now that we've gotten the screws out, I'll show you how to take the attachment off here in a second. Before I do that, these screws are really, really tiny. So make sure you have them in a secure place. Otherwise, you may end up losing them. I'm really bad about losing screws, so I try to keep them all in the same area. Even with my tools, that way my tools and parts and screws and everything are together. They did not include any extra screws, which I'm kind of surprised. I think another, 2 screws would have been nice with this setup, but just don't lose them. That simple. So, when I did first receive this, I did take the screws out, and I figured, hey, this piece should just pop right off. So I played with it, I didn't want to mess this up. So I actually had to do a little bit of research. Like I said, I did not have the owner's manual. I did a little bit of research and come to find out, I believe I can just do that. Pop, push it up away from the left side of the gimbal, or I guess you can say the bottom side of the gimbal, and it pops right out, which is really cool. I like that. I like it a whole lot better than just the 2 screws, because I feel like that's probably added stability that we're not going to have to worry about with these. So here we go. We do have these markings on here. They go right into here. So this is going to attach just like the cell phone housing. We'll take this, make sure this part's at the top, that's down at the bottom, and then pop it down, and then lock it into place. Now I know there was a few times when I was switching between the cell phone and the GoPro that I did not put the screws in. I wouldn't recommend that. I don't think it's going to pop out. But just to make sure that it's safe and secure and that you're not going to, have your cell phone fall off and hit the ground and crack, or you're not going to break your GoPro or anything like that, I would go ahead and put these guys back in. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten those up real quick. I'll end up fast forwarding the video right about now. Alright, those are nice and snug. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to attach the GoPro. So I don't actually have a GoPro necessarily, but I do have this camera. It is some sort of sports camera. A lot like the GoPro. I believe it's a generic version of the GoPro. But we do have that to test out, and we do have the GoPro housing. Now with this specific camera, we did have to shave a little bit off the front of this, so it will fit in here. But it's pretty much the same thing as the GoPro. I'm going to go ahead and make sure all my buttons line up for the most part. And then there we go. We have this in here. Now we want to make sure this top screw is loosened up just a little bit, because if this is tight, then this is not going to fit in here properly. We're going to go ahead and slide this into here, and we'll pop it back. And before we tighten this, we're going to take this screw that I was talking about earlier, and we're going to slide it right into here. And the reason we're doing this step first is if we tighten this, it's actually going to push the GoPro housing down, and we're not going to be able to line up our screw down here. So let's go ahead and tighten this, and I'll fast forward this part as well. Alright, so now that's nice and tightened, I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and we're going to tighten this piece up here. And there we go. It's nice and on there. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I balance this before we actually turn on the motors, and I'm going to explain the reasons why we're going to do that. So we'll go ahead and just like check and make sure it's stable. And you know what? It's actually pretty level. I'm kind of surprised. We'll go ahead and we'll look at this side, see how that looks, and we'll actually do this. Move it all the way to the back, and that looks great too. And then we'll put my finger right here, and there we go. It's nice and good. I know with the iPhone we actually hold it this direction, and we'll be walking this way, but with this camera we want to make sure we turn it this direction so the camera is actually facing away from us, and then we can move around and all that good stuff. If you did notice just a second ago, I went this direction a little too fast. It did kind of spaz out for a second, but it did recalibrate. Same as going this direction. If the counterweight does hit right there, it might spaz out as well. That's the only thing I noticed with this. It does like to recalibrate itself, which is nice, but you do have to be careful with quick, sudden movements that are really extreme. But yeah, it holds up pretty well. So yeah, just remember, let me go ahead and turn it off, that this is how we balance it at the bottom. So yeah, we'll do that for both the phone and this. And we want to make sure it's as stable as it can be. The reason that I say that we want to balance it before turning on the motor is, let me show you for example. I'll go ahead and throw this balance way off and see how it looks. So yeah, we're leaning to the right pretty bad. I can turn it on, and it kind of has trouble calibrating sometimes. Sometimes it'll calibrate itself, but the thing with this is we're using the motor a lot, and I personally don't feel comfortable using the motor that hard. I want to put as less stress on the motor as I can because I don't want to risk burning it out. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and we'll preview some footage for the GoPro. Let's go ahead and preview some footage for the iPhone. Alright, so we have the small cell phone attachment on here. I'm going to show you how to attach the cell phone and how to balance this before turning it on. And I'll explain why we're going to balance it before we turn it on here in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my phone out. I have an OtterBox case on my phone. I did put the case in there and I felt like it was a little too heavy for the setup. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the case off my phone and go ahead and just put my phone in there by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this part. That way you don't have to worry about watching it. Alright, now that my phone is out, I don't know if you can see the picture. There's my little baby boy. If not, alright, I'll probably maybe throw it in there. We'll see. But yeah, we have the case off the phone. I'm going to go ahead and take the stabilizer. And we're going to make sure the counterweights and everything are at the bottom of the stabilizer. I'm going to take my phone. I'm going to lift up on this top part. And there we go. It's nice and snug. And I'm going to check the balance. You can see it's leaning heavy to the right. I noticed you can either slide the phone over just a little bit to counteract the balance. Or we can take this bottom piece and loosen this up and pull it over. I'm going to go ahead and pull it over all the way and then we'll check the balance here in a second. I also did notice there are a few other extra holes here, so you can move this over to here. So if the balance is too far on the right or on the left, I'm sorry, for a certain reason, you can move it over to either one of these and balance it more to the right side. So we're going to check it. Still kind of heavy on the right side. So this is when I'm going to take my phone and kind of push it over and check it. And that's pretty close. I like that. We could have left this and just moved the phone over, but I want to try to make sure the phone's in here as far over to the right as I can. I don't really have to worry about it because these do grip on pretty tight. It has a really good hold on there. I'm kind of surprised by that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. I'll show you what happens if I just turn it on just like this. Now the motor kicks in, and one thing I did notice, it kind of leans to the side just a little bit, and it's just not as smooth as I would like for it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. I'll take my back finger and line it up exactly where I want this to be, and I'll go ahead and let it calibrate real quick, and there we go, we're good. Everything's nice and stable and it looks great. I can turn my phone on and I can actually watch everything that I'm recording. Pretty neat. Now with the GoPro, we're actually going to have to turn this around the other direction, and if I haven't shown you guys already, I will go ahead and show you that. But yeah, that's it. It's good. It's nice and stable. The only thing I didn't notice with this, if I jerk it too hard, it'll kind of spaz out, get off balance, so I'll have to turn it off and reset it. But normally you're not going to really be too rough with it. I mean, it holds up pretty good. Make sure you don't hit anything too hard. Like I said, it'll spaz out and usually recalibrate itself, and you're good to go. I guess you can call selfie mode. I don't know. I really don't use my rear facing camera on my iPhone, but I figured I'd test it out for the stabilizer, see how it does, and it looks pretty stable. I think I'm digging it. Let's get back and see my final thoughts. Alright, so my final conclusion, I really dig this. I like this. It was a whole lot easier to use than what I thought. It took a little bit of adjusting, but that's fine, not a big deal. I didn't get the owner's manual with it, so I'm not sure what all is included with that. But I was able to figure it out on my own, which is nice. I typically don't use electronic stabilizers. I like the fly cam, glide cam, stuff like that. So this, I mean, it was very easy to use. Would I consider using one of these? Not quite often do I use one, but it's a possibility that I could. I mean, it might be kind of fun for home videos with family, a walk in the park with the kids, all that kind of good stuff. So it's neat. I know with the new iPhone out and all the new phones and better cameras coming out, this might be a neat option to get some stable shots for a really cheap price. So yeah, I would recommend this. I looked online and this goes for about $240. And for that price, I don't think you can beat it. It's a little touchy, so you can't be too rough with it. But for basic, you know, panning shots and everything, and for some stable shots, works great. So yeah, if you guys want to see some more review footage of this, feel free to comment, message us, all that kind of good stuff. And maybe we'll do another review. All right, you guys have a great day.